Man don't lie, man spit rhymes. T2 step then the next
I hope everyone's doing well. Welcome back to another lesson. So this lesson is going to be a slightly shorter one. It's expanding on the previous lesson, right? So this previous lesson that I made for you guys, all psychology based. This one's going to be very similar, but not purely psychology. I'm going to give you guys some tangible things you can take away, real life things you can go ahead and apply. And the reason for this is, right, the previous episode, the sort of, precedent I set out is, look, everyone's different. We all have our demons. We all have things we struggle with, things we're good with. You have to talk to yourself and figure those things out. That's what I wanted to sort of guide you guys towards, right? And I show you, like, look, I'm giving you the guidance here, but I can't help each person individually because every single person is so different. You sort of have to figure out what you're struggling with and then warp your environment, your habits into something that helps you, get better at that or, combat against it, depending on what it is. So with this video that I'm making now, like I said, I want to give you something a bit more specific, give you guys something, real that everyone can start to apply, some good habits. But of course, I touched a lot on habits in the last episode. So now I want to actually show you guys, a few things I do, purely related to trading and stuff and how, you may be able to implement some of these too. So cool. The first thing, very big, physical environment, right? Trading location, organization, routine, and reminders. So some very basic points, but very, very key, right? I think sometimes just generally in trading, people overlook the basics. Not purely even a technical perspective, but, it's just the sort of thing trading is. When you're trading, when you're sitting at that screen, it's very easy to get sucked into that 3 or 5 minute chart you're looking at. Easy to forget that bigger picture that we spoke about in the last lesson, right? So cool. The first point. Trading location. Guys, please have, one set location where you trade. Now, everybody may not agree with this. That's fine, right? Of course, that, no one will always agree with 100% of what I say. But I think it's imperative to have one place where, you can call this your trading location. It could be anywhere in your house. Now, look, I know, everybody may not be fortunate enough to have their own desk or workspace, but sort of figure out like one area. Right, just have this sort of area tied, and in your brain you sort of want to make your brain realize every time I'm in this area I need to be in trading mode or studying mode, whatever it is. So I have a desk, that's my trading location. Am I trading if I'm not at my desk? No, very unlikely that I am, right? I'm not going to say it's never happened, but very extremely unlikely. So most of the time I'm at this desk trading, right? Now, why is that important? The first step, the first point, I already kind of touched on it. We sort of want to wire our brain to adapt this environment, right? Adapt this idea that every time I'm at this specific location, every time I'm sitting in this chair, I'm at this desk, I'm going into trading mode. Now, the first few times, let's say you're somebody who doesn't do this, you do this, you may feel no difference. But over time, you will definitely start to see. When you sit down at this chair, when you have the intention to start trading or doing whatever, starting some work, your brain will sort of fall into that, especially if it's at similar times each day, right? Now, why is this important? A lot of people, I used to be like this, probably wake up and straight out of bed first thing in the morning, hop on the charts. Now, that may work for some of you, but I don't think that's healthy. I don't think that's sustainable. I don't think it's good for your brain. It's definitely not good for your eyes, right? And I don't think it's likely you're building good framework, good trades if you're, just hopping on your phone straight after you wake up, hopping on a chart and trying to find trades, right? It's much likelier you'll be able to do that when you're sitting at your desk, you get set up properly and you have a routine to follow, right? Which I'll get into in a second. Makes sense, right? It's very logical. Not, like I said, the first thing I said, a lot of the things I say today will be very basic. But you guys will see they're so basic that I do these every single day, right? Almost everything I mentioned today, I do every single day, right? Or every single trading day at least. And you'll see why it's so important, right? So cool. Next comes organization. Now, again, some of you guys are younger and you might not be, sort of, I won't say into this, but it might not be a habit of yours yet, right? And I was like that once as well. I never used to clean and stuff, keep my workspace clean and whatnot, even my room generally. Now, me personally, right, without getting too deep into it, I've got 2 cats. My room gets quite messy sometimes. You guys have probably heard my cats in the back of my videos before. But it means I clean, right? I clean every single day. Now, I didn't, of course, I clean for cleaning's sake. I want a clean room. I'm a fairly, I'd like to consider myself a hygienic, clean person. But more than just cleaning, right, the basics, whatever it is, like hoovering, mopping, dusting, whatever it is, I organize my room, right? I make sure I don't have a lot of clutter on my desk. I try to keep things nice and neat. Because I feel like that, that environment, that desk, everything you have around you will then reflect into your mind. Now, what I mean by that is, right, if you've got a bunch of stuff lying everywhere, everything's all over the place, is that not how you will feel in your brain? Does trading not sometimes feel like that? That everything is just all over the place sometimes, right? You don't want to be in a position like that. So something very, very basic you can do is just tidy up. Just clean the things around you, clean your desk, clean your trading environment, everything in your eyesight, make sure it's nice and neat. Now, when you do this, a few things will happen, right? First, you're going to get a sense of reward. Like, cool, you've done something is a good thing, right? You feel a bit accomplished. On top of that, you will now feel sort of satisfied. There's nothing that's suddenly grabbing your attention. Everything is in order. Everything is in the right place, right? That's how it should be. That's how your mind should be when you're trading as well. There should be an order of events, right? So get into routine. Now, when I say routine, right, we have a routine on the charts. Now, we have a routine away from the charts, right? So, like I said, my routine, quite basic. Wake up, whatever. I have a very, very specific morning routine. If any of you guys are interested, you can message me. We can get into that. It's a lot of like science-based stuff I spoke about last time, human lab, very health-based stuff. I don't think I necessarily need to mention that here, but have a morning routine. Try keep it regular. Try wake up at the same time if you can. Again, I know everyone's situation is different. Now, in my routine, what's the important part? Like I said, before I can trade, before I can, hop on these charts and start getting involved, engaging in setups, I have to clean. I have to declutter, right? I am not rushing to make a trade. Again, it helps if you wake up at the same time every day. If you wake up later, you might feel a sense of urgency. Let me rush, right? I might miss a setup, blah, blah, blah. Don't put yourself in that position. Trading is not something you want to do when you feel rushed or when you feel like you need to immediately accomplish it, right? For trading, you need a calm mind. So I start my days, again, like I said, by cleaning. By making sure everything's neat, everything's in order, because that's how I want it to reflect, on the charts. I want everything to be neat. I want it to be in order. I want it to be easy for me to, see and understand. That is my routine, right? Now let's talk about chart routine and what, we sort of expect on the charts. Now, I touched on this in the last lesson. And I said to you guys, I've taught you guys so many things, so many concepts like CBDR, Asia range, whatever it is. And if you're a London trader, you may use some more of these concepts, for example, the CBDR, like I just said. And with New York, you may not use it, right? So the first thing is to outline what you will be checking every day. Now, I've already given you guys an execution checklist. When I'm looking for trades, this is what I want to do. But, just quickly running over it again. I know it's very repetitive, but this is what you guys will come to see. Is my daily routine repetitive? Is everything not relatively repetitive? As it should be. That's when you yield the most success. When you're taking the same type of trades on a regular basis, you're following the same models, right? It's repetition. Repeating successful things again and again. Apologies if you hear background noise. It's my cat's in the back now. But that is what you want. That is what your routine is. What is routine? Routine is doing that same thing at the same time. That is what will yield you the best results. You can ask any trader that. Absolutely. No trader suddenly, became very successful by constantly doing bare different things. Right? Initially, maybe they tried a lot of different things, but eventually they find something that works and stick with it and repeat that again and again and again, yielding results over time. Right? Every single successful trader will tell you that. Now, what do I mean by reminders? Right? I've been speaking to a lot of you recently, And I'm very happy. I'm very happy with everyone's progress actually, because a lot of you guys are becoming very adept on the technical side of stuff now, and you're really understanding price action and the charts, which is good. But where you're sort of falling short is your psychology and your experience now, and that's fine. That's expected, right? That's not a bad thing when I'm saying this. Now, what it is, right? I can tell you guys a lot of things. Okay, risk this, manage your risk. Don't leverage, be patient, wait for the right setups. Don't jump straight into trades. Don't think that, I used to have a thing where every time I hopped on a chart, I could see a trade straight away on at least one time frame, and I would try to get involved in that move. And I had to combat that by, understanding, is that even a high probability trade? Am I just seeing a trade because I hopped on the chart? So now when I hop on the chart straight away, I don't trust the first trade I see. I make sure I run through my routine, my whole, little exercise I have, starting on look at the weekly candle, look at the daily candle, New York midnight price and the opening price, current 4-hour candle, previous 4-hour candle, the hourly candles. What am I expecting for the next session? You get all the basics. And when I'm saying these things here, and you guys are at this lesson and you've watched all the previous lessons, do you not know this? You know every single thing that I've just said. Definitely you should know it, right? If not, you need to revisit a few lessons. But the key thing here is, when we're on the charts, we forget. Now, also, again, I touched on this in the previous lesson, right? And this is the sort of importance of it. The thing is, when we're trading, and this is from first-hand experience, it's very easy to forget that we're trading for a singular day here. If we take 1% loss, right, even 2 losses potentially, it's not the end of the world, as long as it's managed risk, right? You will live to trade another day, you will live to trade another week. And that is how you need to look at your trading. The problem is that these things can become easy to forget, right? Now, like I said, I've been speaking to a lot of people, so I've already been giving them some of this advice, right? Some of you guys might come across the same advice I gave you earlier in these lessons. Now, I posted something in the mentorship channel recently, somebody's Notion with a certain set of rules, right? Now, once again, everybody understands these rules. They know why they're why they're in place, why the risk management's in place, why it's important. Everyone knows these things, guys, right? And because they're so basic, they're easy to brush over their importance. Because in the moment when you're sitting there, right, and you're trading like a bit of a cunt, and you're double risking, you're revenge trading, somewhere in your brain you shouldn't be doing this, but you forget, right? So what I said to people, the advice I've given, definitely has worked for me, and I'm pretty sure has worked for others, is to make those rules visible to yourself, right? Now, I'm lucky. I've got a whiteboard right behind my desk, right? I've attached it to my wall. I can write whatever I want on this. I can make my rules very, very, prominent in front of me, and make sure I don't make the same mistakes. Now, you don't even have to write your rules, guys. To somebody, right, the advice I gave him, I was like, just write anything, right? Just write anything that matters to you. What do you lack? Patience. This guy always beats himself up about his lack of patience. So I said, literally write the word patience. Because it's not about the singular word patience. It's the fact that every time you look at this word, what's it going to make you think of? All those mistakes you made, all those times you got burnt, and now you don't want to repeat it, right? That's what it comes down to. Now, writing your rules and stuff, I agree. That's a very, very good way to do it, because you can treat it like a checklist, right? It's right in front of you, so you won't miss anything, right? I've given you guys an execution checklist before, and I've said, like, tick this off, tick this off. If everything's ticked, you take the trade. If something's not ticked, you don't take the trade. Very, very simple. So, you don't need a whiteboard for these things. You can use Notion, right, which some people are already doing. But if you want to make it even simpler, get a post-it note. I assume most of you are trading on a laptop or a monitor or something. Get a post-it note, just stick it to the side. Put it on your desk, put it on your screen, wherever you want it, right? That's up to you. But make it visible to yourself. So before you repeat those, dumb mistakes that hold you back, because at some point your trading career will definitely be your psychology that holds you back, right? Or a bad habit instead of technicals, once you've learned the technical part. To combat that, like I said, you will know what you need to do. But the important part is you have to remind yourself what you need to do. But it's already in your brain. But like I said, when you get sucked into that screen, when you're on that 1 minute chart, 3 minute chart, 5 minute chart, whatever it is, it's very easy to forget those basics. And just think about those next few candles that are going to print. but those next few candles don't matter. But they will matter if you make big mistakes, right? If you over risk, if you lose a big amount, if you take a stupid loss that leads you to take another stupid loss, that leads you to almost blowing an account. I know, most of you understand how easy it is to go into that sort of whirlpool and get sucked in and make repeated mistakes. And then a few hours later, you're just regretting all of it. So why did I even do that? Well, when you have that reminder in your face, you don't really have an excuse. And if you still do it, you have a lot of thinking to do. Because if everything's laid out for you and you have constant reminders, it should make it much, much harder for you to repeat those mistakes. Right? Now, social and mental environment. What do I mean by this? Right. Now, I've written a few things here. Right? I've written meditation, reading. Now, what ties into this, right? The reason I'm putting this under the sort of like mental environment is I don't go ahead and do 100 push-ups and then jump on my trading screen. My heart's beating fast. I'm pumped. I'm ready to go. That's not how you trade. You need something that sort of centers yourself. My sort of centering thing is reading, right? I'm not big on meditation. I'm looking into it. I definitely want to start. But some of you might already be interested and some of you might already do it. But have something that sort of centers you, sort of calms your brain down. Because when we trade, right, I've said this, when you're trading, you should have no distractions, right? You shouldn't be on your phone. Most of our phones nowadays, they're machines where they make your brain move very fast. You have a lot of tabs open, lots of things you're focusing on. When you're trading, you don't want that. You want streamlined focus. And if you're coming from an environment, right, if you're just coming from being on your phone for like the past hour and things have been moving very fast, you don't want to hop on the charts like that. So take 5-10 minutes out and sort of reset. And that's, I'm just giving you examples here. You guys could find so many different ways to do this, right? Something that works for you. But these are very solid examples that probably work for most people. Just sitting down and reading for like 10-15 minutes, right? Just focusing on that book in your hands, completely putting your distractions away. Meditating is even better, right? Literally close your eyes, sit there, whatever it is, there's so many different ways to meditate. Maybe stretch, right? Maybe go on a walk before you go on the charts. Right, that's up to you guys. Trial and error, see what works for you. Everything I've listed, including the walks, the stretching, I've tried. Right, I stick to the reading and the walks. The walks especially, I love those. But, for each person, it'll be different. And the chart routine, I already touched on this. Right, the actual, technical routine. When it is so mechanical and you put it step by step, you do the same stuff every time. Right, like I mentioned before, I already mentioned this routine, right? But just quickly, weekly candle, daily candle, New York midnight price, Sunday opening price, all of these things. You see when I'm saying the routine, the same words are coming out, are they not? That's how it should be, guys. Because I do the same things each time I hop on my charts. I want to understand how the weekly candle's forming so far. Where am I in this candle? How's today's daily candle forming so far? How's the current 4-hour candle forming so far? What did the previous 4-hour candle do? You see, these things I said, I know I said them early in the lesson. And if you ask me a different day, I will tell you the exact same things because they are the exact same things I do. So the point here is, right, why does, where does that tie into mental environment? Because there's technicals. You have peace of mind when you know you are doing first the correct things because we know we need to do top-down analysis, right? From a technical perspective, it's the right thing to do. And you also have peace of mind because you're repeating the same things every day. And repeating the correct and the same things every day will yield you success. So as long as you're sticking to those plans that you've laid out for yourself, your trading plan, then you'll be in a good mental environment. Because even if you took a loss, you followed your plan. If you took a win, then I followed my plan. That's all there is to it. You're following that plan. You're following that routine consistently. Right? Now, again, I know that was a little bit of a short lesson, and I really hope you guys are able to take something away, because the big, emphasis here from me is I understand that psychology, it can be very difficult for some. Some people, crack it very easy, and big ups to you if that's you, right? Because it's definitely not something that's easy for most people, and it's something you may struggle with. But the only way to beat that is to combat it, right? You can't just run into a brick wall. If you need to reach the other side, what are you going to do? Keep running into a wall? No. Eventually, you try to climb over. You walk around it. You have to take some sort of action. You can't just keep doing the same mistakes again and again and again. You can't keep repeating them, right? You have to find a way around these things. And again, that is different for everyone. But I hope in this smaller lesson I've made today, I've given you guys some very, real life actions you can take. The idea of decluttering, cleaning, having the same chart routine, having it written out in front of you. These should be things I hope for everyone, regardless of, where you are in your trading journey. But I hope that helps. Any questions at all, even if they're personal questions, guys, just please let me know. I'll be happy to help.